B2B email marketing is changing in 2025, and most businesses are just not ready for it at all. The old playbook of cold calling, having a rep send 10 to 15 emails a day, trade shows, expensive paid ads, that stuff is becoming harder and harder to break into because that market is so saturated and the way that we communicate has changed. But there's one thing that has kept the same for decades since its inception, and that is email. If you go to any enterprise, whether it's a local business or a Fortune 500 company, every single person at that company has an email. I don't care if you're the janitor or the CEO, there's an email that they are using and getting updates on or talking to their other coworkers. So there is a channel that is guaranteed to get to your ICP, your ideal client. And the thing is, where most of these other avenues have started to decline, where paid ads are getting saturated, trade shows are becoming obsolete, things are going virtual, emailing is actually taking an upgrade. There are tools being designed with the right operator that can make it easier and easier to get to your entire market using email. That means you can literally get a message to the exact person you want to talk to using email at scale, meaning you can be sending hundreds or thousands of emails a day to people that you want to be talking to, that you're hoping your paid ads are going to get you to. The people that you're hoping to catch at a trade show, that you're paying for $1,000 dinner in the hopes that they might come over and chat with you for a bit. The future is AI-powered cold email, and it is the fastest and most reliable way to book meetings with your ideal prospects. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why and how you can take advantage of this. And I'm going to explain to you in this video exactly what I'm talking about and how it works so that you can put it into your business. So if you look into how most businesses today are going about getting clients, right? Whether it's a product or service for businesses, they all kind of follow the same script. They'll usually start by getting a sales team, and that sales team will go and they'll, have to learn the playbook and learn the product and then go and prepare and pitch it over email. They all get Salesforce licenses or HubSpot accounts, and then you might also have them go and cold call because you've got a sales manager who's gonna whip them into shape. Make sure that they cold call. And then on top of that, you start exploring SEO. You start looking into maybe paid ads. Maybe that's the motion. And so you have to hire a paid advertiser, a media buyer, a designer to make the creative, a script writer to get all of the right copy into it. And for the most part, what you see with most enterprises is they bring in a CMO who has to kind of be jack of all trades, master of none, and they churn through different verticals. They don't find the right paid ads person. Their sales rep needs the most training because they are the highest investment for the business. They cost thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to have one sales rep on the team, and they don't even produce for them. They're a big investment and end up being a big waste of time. And I'm not saying that's the truth for every single sales rep, but if you think about all of that and say what actually works, there's one thing across every sales organization that every single one of them does, and that is email their prospects. They're always buying leads, and they're always getting them to email those prospects. The reason is simple. I explained it before. Every single person that is in your ICP, every single person almost on the planet that you want to talk to and sell something to has an email that they're checking. It's just a matter of getting in front of them, getting that email, and then getting a message to them. You could go and get a media buyer who will probably get in front of that same person with enough time, but guess what? That costs money, and you're also going to get in front of a lot of people that you don't want to be in front of. The biggest thing that I hear from all of the enterprises that I work with is that they just don't have a better method right now. They don't have a good go-to-market motion, and they need to find something that is going to solve this for them. And the question that I ask them is, well, you know that you have booked a meeting over email. You know that everybody in your ICP has email. Would it make sense? Would it be helpful if you were able to get an email to the right people at scale? If we could hit up your entire market in a month? The answer is usually the same. When you explain it like that, you realize it's a no-brainer. So what's changing in today's day and age that's making that possible? So the first thing is there is now AI-powered personalization, where maybe 10 years ago, you could send a mass email to people. And email was so new that they would just see it and they go, oh my goodness, who's this person that has my address book that is emailing me? Now there is AI-powered personalization. And I'm not talking about sending AI-generated messages because frankly, they're just not quite where they need to be. And then to surface hyper-personal signals. It could be new funding rounds, it could be job postings, but finding those signals that make your message relevant to them. I'm not saying don't use any AI personalization in your email. There's right ways to do it, but for most people that are going to watch this video, it's probably going to sound like a bot wrote your email if you're not doing it correctly, so I'm not going to cover it right now. Just know that you can be leveraging AI to get better segments and better signals. And let me explain to you why this even works and how I figured it out. What made me decide to become an expert in this field? When I first left my job, I needed to get clients for my business. I realized that I needed to find other businesses that could use my services, which at the time was web design. Well, how do I find businesses that need web design? I started where pretty much everybody does, and it was local businesses. Most local businesses need website upgrades. Things are changing by the month at this point, where you want to get newer and more advanced technology on your website so you can capture more leads. You just need to make it look modern at least. So I said, great, that's my service. I'm going to find it. But how do I outreach to interested businesses? The answer was over email, because phone calls take too long. I can only make 40 or 50 or 60, maybe 100 a day if I did nothing else. I don't know anything about paid ads, and I also didn't have capital to invest in paid ads, but I realized emails are pretty much free. I mean, how much does it cost you to open up your Gmail account and send an email? And so that's exactly what I did. I started going up market and I started to change my offer. And I pretty much realized that every single time I changed my offer, whether it was SEO, whether it was e-commerce or email marketing, I basically came to the same conclusion. And that was, I'm getting all of my clients through emails. Eventually I started bringing it into the capital markets, into commercial real estate, into fundraising. And I realized there was great success there. And that's when I locked it in and I said, this is something that every single business needs. If you don't have one person in this role today that is able to get you into the inboxes of your ICP, your ideal client profile, then you are missing a major lever in your business. I think there is no reason that there won't be this role identified in every single business probably in the next 10 or 15 years. It's table stakes. You are hiring SDRs to do this job, and it's slowly becoming easier for one operator to have the impact of a team of SDRs. I'm not saying get rid of your sales reps. You still need people to get on the phone and close them. But if you have one vertical taken care of by a specialist that is giving you access to your entire market, why wouldn't you do that? And that's why I got into this, and that's what I do for my clients. There's 3 things that go into an effective email campaign, especially a cold email campaign. The first thing is always your infrastructure, and more clearly, your deliverability. What is getting you into the inbox of the people that you are trying to reach? Everybody knows at this point that you can't just get one mailbox, send one message, rip it to 1,000 people, and not land in spam. Every email service provider has gotten better at catching people that are doing that. They don't want spammers, and for good reason. If you're not going to put some effort into your emails and you're just going to flood inboxes, it doesn't help anybody. There are AI tools that are being built out in the form of warm-up and also signaling to make sure that your inbox health stays up. This is probably going to be the biggest advancement, but it's going to take the longest to do because email is fickle. The second thing is going to be your segmenting or your targeting, and this is where AI can help today. If you want to find out who you should target in your industry, you just need to go to ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity and ask it questions about who you're trying to reach out to. Start with, I am selling this service. I want to know who will buy it. It'll give you a list of companies, a bunch of different industries, and then you will have to use some common sense or ask it to give some reasoning as to why those companies are going to use it. Then you will go and ask it, okay, who are the types of people at this company? What roles are they in that would qualify them to make a purchasing decision on this service or product? The AI will spit out a list of titles, and then again, you'll use some common sense. They might put in a couple that you don't think are going to have purchasing power. Let's say that you have an accounting service that costs $2,000 a month that you want to offer to businesses. The first thing you would do is go to your AI and you say, hey, I have an accounting service. I want to charge at least $2,000 a month. What are businesses that could benefit from this? With good prompting, the AI will probably tell you, we don't want to start down market. If you're talking to freelancers or you're talking to people that have 1 or maybe 2 people in their business, they are not going to have any use for this, and it's probably going to be too expensive for them. So you want to start at maybe 10 employees and up. Let me give you an example of how this works. So let's pretend that you have an accounting service that you want to sell to businesses for $2,000 a month. So you want to ask the AI, I have an accounting service that I want to sell for $2,000 a month. Who can afford it? Who is most likely to buy it? It'll probably give you a list of companies, and it'll tell you to probably avoid companies that are too small. If they're 1 or 2 people, then you're not going to be able to really sell to them because they probably don't need it and it's probably too expensive. On the other hand, if you go way up market and it's 500 people, then realistically, that's not going to be a great fit for you to start your outreach to because 500 person company has entire departments dedicated to this. This might not be a good fit for them. So where's the sweet spot? AI will tell you to go and find people that are maybe between 5 and maybe 20 person companies. Let's say you're reaching out to a healthcare startup. If you're a 15 person healthcare startup and someone has an accounting solution for you, analysts don't care, the sales team doesn't care, the CMO probably doesn't care. The people that probably care are going to be the CEO, and if they have a financial role like a CFO or something, that person might care. But even then, it's probably too early stage for that. maybe the co-founder. Again, you have to use critical thinking. Obviously, it'll give you some titles that probably aren't relevant. You need to be able to filter those out. But hopefully you're seeing a bit more about how you can ask AI to literally tell you who to target, and they can plug ideas in that you may not have been able to capture on your own. If you're reaching out to general contractors, then you need to know to contact people with titles like general contractor. If you're reaching out to dentist's office, then it probably helps to know that you should be contacting people with practice manager titles. These are the kinds of things that AI can serve. A lot of people asking about how do you make messages personalized? How do you make them so hyper personalized it feels like it was written for them? The answer I usually give them is you need to first make it relevant. How do you make this offer relevant to them? Well, if you're reaching out to a company and you're trying to sell them financial services and you want to talk to general contractors, then you probably want to use language that they would use. Talk about how you can help them make sure that you are getting write-offs on all of their bids, or using terms like equipment costs. These are things that AI can help surface. You might ask it something like, hey, can you generate a couple sentences with different angles on how I might position my offer using industry jargon? And you'll start to get a feel for the types of words that people use, the way they talk about things. This is usually why most people recommend you start with an industry that you're familiar with, because you already know that market. You already know how they talk. But additionally, like I mentioned before, you can use AI to find signals like hiring or new funding rounds, or even finding out what city they're in. And just having that level of detail helps them a lot. On top of this, there's a lot of tools that are making it even easier to automate most of this. There's sequencers like Instantly, SmartLead, and Zazu. They do everything from upload all of your mailboxes, they track replies, they look at performance and feed it back to you, and they'll even warm up your inboxes. And they can also schedule follow-ups for everybody who doesn't reply to you. The beauty of that is they also offer something called split testing. So you can try two different angles for your offer and see which one is performing better and shut off one in the middle of the campaign if you find that it's not doing what it needs to do. So for example, you might reach out to a bunch of people about your accounting offer, and you might reach out to them by first saying, hey, do you have any problems with your accounting right now? Maybe that problem forward angle doesn't work as well as going in with a more direct approach and saying, hey, if we could save you $4,000 a month, would that be worth discussing? And then the question I always get is, how do I personalize at scale? How do I send at scale? The answer is you need enough mailboxes to be able to send at scale in the first place. If you have one or two mailboxes, we never send more than 15 emails per mailbox. There are tools like Clay or GPT for Sheets where you can plug in information into the sheet and then leverage AI inside of it to generate prompts for you. It can do web searches, and it can do web searches, or it can summarize data for you so you can plug in bits into the fields that you want in your email. Most people know if you're sending a large email campaign, you're uploading a CSV with data. You can edit that data to have personalized information per line using AI enhanced prompts. If this is sounding a little bit crazy or like it's a lot more work than you might have thought of, I totally understand that. There's a reason I do what I do, and there's a reason that I have enterprise partners that I do this with. Just book a call with me. I have a link in the description below. We can at least scope it out and see if it's a good fit or give you some ideas. I'm happy to advise.